It's not your fault. You have a Savior that has forgiven you. You have an advocate in heaven that goes to the Father every single day and says, the devil is a liar. I have set them free, forgiven them. Oh, Father, show your grace. It's not your fault. Stop listening to the negative voices. Stop listening to the evil and the vile. Stop thinking that we can carry somebody else's baggage along with our own baggage and set yourself free. You are an elect child of God.
Amen.
That's right.
Stabilize yourself. Stabilize yourself and say enough is enough. I am not going to let this garbage in my house. I'm not going to talk about this garbage on the phone. I'm not going to let this stuff invade my life. I'm not going to let this stuff raise my blood pressure. I'm not going to let this stuff take me down. I'm going to be set free. And we cannot evangelize for God the way that He wants us to, the way that we're supposed to, until we're set free from the past.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
People make choices. People make their own choices. Adults make their own choices. Kids make their own choices. Family members make their own choices. Friends make their own choices. And folks, I cannot emphasize to you enough how important it is this coming year that you have a come to Jesus talk with your loved ones. And if they won't listen to you while you're having a come to Jesus talk with them, then you need to tell them that we're not going to talk any further until you come to a place where you're willing to listen and have a discussion about what I'm talking about. And if you have to open that discussion by saying, dude, when you die, are you going to heaven or hell? Do you believe in God or not believe in God? You know how you need to open conversation. You know how you need to talk to somebody. And we have to stop putting it off. Let me talk to us about another thing for just a moment. First of all, Marcy, when are we going to dedicate that little boy? Have you dedicated that little boy in some other church?
No, we haven't.
Then we need to dedicate that little boy.
Amen.
We need to hurry up and do it.
I was going to do it this last
We need to hurry up and do it.
but
Let me talk to us about the altar.
Amen.
Let me talk to us about the altar. Okay? We need to start coming to the altar.
Yes.
Now, I know that some of us can't kneel. I understand. So you come and you sit. But those of us that come and kneel, we need to start coming to the altar. Timothy, you need to start coming to the altar. You need to start coming to the altar. When I open the altar for prayer, you need to get to the altar. When I was your age in McMinnville, Oregon, this was my spot right here where me and God had conversation in our church in McMinnville. Right here. This is where I met God as a teenager. This is where I had conversation. And Timothy, when we open the altar for prayer, you need to get down to this altar. I'm going to start kneeling right here, and I expect others who can kneel to kneel at these altars, and I expect others of you that you cannot kneel possibly, that either you sit, and I'm expecting others of you to come and lay hands upon those who are kneeling at the altar, me included. I shouldn't have to pray for everybody. We should be praying for one another. And it's time we get to the altar.
Thank you, Jesus.
Next time my grandkids are here, my family's here, they're coming to the altar. I'm radicalized. I'm radicalized!
Praise the Lord.
This is about forever. This is about heaven. This is about hell. We got radicalization all over the world, killing people. Going crazy. What's the church doing? What's Christian people doing? I have got to get radical. As soon as it figures out whether I'm living or dying, I've got to do some radical things. We haven't had church outside for quite a while. I got to get it outside. I haven't played the horn. We haven't worshipped outside. Somehow I got to get us outside. You know why we haven't done services outside lately? For the last couple of years? Because I was afraid that I don't want to have a church service outside when 5 of us come. And the rest of us think that that's just an opportunity to take the Sunday off. And then we lose tithe, and we lose offering. And then when we go over the finances at the end of the month, then we're about $2,000 short. That's why we haven't had outside services. Because we simply financially can't afford to have an outside service. Because then people don't pay their tithes. They think it's a Sunday off. I just can't take it anymore. The media's gone crazy. The media is crazy. Donald Trump. Temporary ban on all Muslims coming to the United States. All the tree-hugging liberal God-haters, the liberals in our country, they don't know what to do with themselves. They're absolutely insane over this whole thing. I mean, they are absolutely freaked out. It just doesn't fit into their narrative. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, it doesn't matter. They're absolutely freaked out. I'll tell you why they're freaked out. Because there's less and less of God on the earth. There's less and less of God in things that we do and say today. You know the most dangerous place in our country today? The most dangerous place in our country today are schools. Gun-free school zones. They are the most soft target. These crazies in California, they already had planned. Thank God, not to minimize anything, but thank God somebody ticked him off at the party, and he goes home to his wife and says, let's just go shoot him up right now, because they had plans to go to schools and kill innocent children. As soon as my wife gets shot over here at the school district, I'm going to own this school district. I know what I'm talking about. And let me make another prediction while I'm at it. I predict that the United States of America, we are on the verge of a potential civil war in this country.
Yes.
I mean a civil war of religion, a civil war of politics, a civil war in that, I don't mean the North against the South anymore, but I mean a civil war. We've had radicalization groups in different times in our country. But this country right now, there is such a void of leadership and there is such a void of God. While mega churches are still mega churches and doing great things, there's less and less and less and less and less of God.
Amen.
And we are on the verge of a civil war. People, go find your relatives, your loved ones, your children, your grandchildren, and have a come to Jesus, talk with them, and don't back down.
Amen.
Invite somebody to come to church with you. Tell him, you got to come see our pastor. He's crazy. I remember the days when I was fearless. Absolutely fearless. It was awesome.
Good, Bill, wasn't
It was awesome.
it? Just
Fearless for God. You don't make a fool out of yourself. You don't be belligerent. You're just a living, breathing testimony for Jesus Christ. To your friends, to your family, your neighborhood, the place where you work. You're radical. And that means you let your light shine in love and mercy and kindness and strength. I've already talked to us. We've lost the war of words. So that means, folks, we got to come at it from a different angle. You those you watching me on video, you got to come at it from a different angle. Enough already. Enough of the garbage. Enough of the wickedness. Turn it off. There's now people on television. There's sportscasters. There's sports writers on television. I know the lifestyle that they live and that they promote. And when they come on, I change the channel. I don't want them in my house. I don't want them on my television set. I don't want to watch them. I don't want to listen to them. And I change the channel. We got former coaches, people, sportscasters. There's a lot of times I can't watch ESPN anymore because of the people they have on there and what they stand for and what they represent. I don't want it in my house. Whether it's television, whether it's child, whether it's grandchild, whether it's friend, whether it's neighbor, whether it's whoever. I don't want it in my house. I don't want it in my mind. I don't want it in my eyes. I don't want it in my ears. I'm setting a standard. We're setting boundaries. It's a misrepresentation that the church is supposed to emulate the world today. No! The church is supposed to stand out from the world today.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes.
No group in America can be shown prejudice against except Christians. If you want to speak out against Christians, that's okay, that's fair game. But you speak out against the Muslims, you're dead meat. You speak out against a homosexual, you're dead. You're done. You speak out against this person or this group or this minority, you're done. You might as well just forget it. But Christian people are fair game. It's time we get radicalized.
Amen.
It's time we get to the altar again. Now I'm just telling you folks, you need to listen to me as we close. I'm not just some dumb poor preacher up here that doesn't know what he's talking about. I didn't get this out of a book. I expect this congregation to get to the altar when it's altar time.
Yes.
And don't give me, don't even, well, you don't have to go to the altar. I can meet God right here while I'm at the, you know what, I'm telling, if you've been a Christian longer than 10, 15 years, you need to get to the altar when I call you to the altar. And this, well, I don't need to go. I can meet God, right? You know what? Then you haven't. Then you don't understand the word. Then you misinterpret. I don't know how I can make it any simpler, any more clear. We are the elect. We are the elect. We must remind ourselves who we are. We must remind ourselves who we belong to. We must remind ourselves that our hope is not up for auction. We must remind ourselves that our faith is not up for auction. We must remind ourselves that our joy is not up for auction. We must remind ourselves that our peace is not up for auction. And we must step up and stand forth and step out and say, you know what? Enough is enough, and here it is. Enough is enough, and here it is. Is anybody going to follow this brother's lead?